Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my father. I want to explain where I come from. He is from Silesia, which is in Central Europe. You see him there as a young man on his horse on the farm he was to inherit. Second World War. Everything is destroyed in Europe. And here you see me after the Second World War. I'm born in 1954. And there you see my father. He has lost one arm. He has lost his beloved brothers. He has lost the farm he wanted to inherit. He has lost his homeland, Silesia. He is now a forcibly displaced person. 10 to 15 million people from Silesia, Pomerania, East Prussia were put on trains and transported away out of their houses and put somewhere else and are unwelcome. So he is an unwelcome, displaced person in another part of Europe. And I'm born into that identity of here where we are not at home and there is no home to go back to. He still dreams of Silesia, his home. He would like to go back home, but there is no home anymore. Silesia doesn't exist anymore in the form it existed until 1945. So this is where I come from a displacement. And the destruction of the Second World War motivated the human family to declare the human rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And you see here Eleanor Roosevelt. She is one of the big forces behind the Human Rights Declaration. And I gave a talk on the 30th of November now at the UN, and my hosts there created a little brochure where they have in the middle this central sentence of the Human Rights Declaration: all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This is the central human rights ideal. So my life after this disaster of the Second World War and the multiple experiences of humiliations that my family went through, my life has become a kind of project. It's not the normal life in a way. It has become a project of how can we reach as a human family on this planet that this will never again happen, never again war, genocide. How can we end ecocide, the destruction of our ecological environment? How can we end sociocide, the destruction of our sociological connections? What must we do? What are the greatest obstacles? This is basically what drives my life. And I think this is my father now. He's 92. He is turning 93 on Tuesday. And I think through this work I had to heal a little bit at least of his profound trauma. I think otherwise he wouldn't be as well now. I hope. So my life project is a life project of global living. I call it global living. I started at the age of 20 and I'm at home now on all continents. I have written my doctoral thesis at the psychology department here at the university in Oslo. And you see there Berit Oos, she was on my committee, and Jan Smeetslund was on my committee. And I've written several books. These are the first books, and then there is also chapters in Norwegian books, and then there is this book which you see here now. So my global life has made me take a step back from humankind. Welcome, welcome. Ah, Barbro, så fint. Velkommen. Kom litt nærmere, eller så må jeg snakke i den retningen der. Velkommen. Så fint. Det er sånn kommet. So this global life project has caused me to take a big step back into a kind of bird's eye perspective. This is the website of the Bradshaw Foundation, which shows very nicely how we came out of Africa, we Homo sapiens, and how we populated the planet. And here it says that we started 150,000 years ago in our modern form that we have now. But it might be longer. Some say now it's 3,000 years, 100,000 years ago. Let's say it's 200,000 years ago. And you see, the first 95% of our history, until this point there, we had a party, you could say. We could always go to follow the food, go to the next valley where there was abundant wild food, together to hunt. And at the very end, we populated South America. And then about 12,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, the party was over. The last 5% of our history is profoundly different to our first 95%. We switch, or we go from a win-win situation where we always could go to more, had more, could go further, to a win-lose situation where it's here either we have this valley or you have this valley. The surface of planet Earth is finite, and at some point this moment had to come where the next valley was already taken by other people and we were stuck. If the planet were bigger, we would still follow the food. So about 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, there were big changes, radical changes in the conditions we found as humans. And the agriculture was complex agriculture was one of our adaptations. When you cannot move further, you get more out of where you are. And I have a different kind of presentation of this. If you think that I respect myself so much and I respect you as much, then we are on one line. And this is the line of equal worthiness that perhaps it seems, if we look at archaeology, how our forefathers and mothers lived before this big turn, the Neolithic revolution about 10,000, 12,000 years ago when it started. It seems we lived together in small groups with quite egalitarian structures. Okay, and then came this turning point. And what did we do? How did we adapt as human family? We adapted by creating dominator societies. This is the name Rianne Eisler, a social scholar, a researcher, has found. She contrasts dominator models of society with the partnership model of society. So in the past 5% of our history, we almost everywhere on our planet lived in dominator societies, which means that there is a master at the top and there is the competition for domination. We learned how to dominate both nature and other people. Here you see you have underlings, slaves. This is the dominator society. And if we look at this ideal, this human rights ideal, what is this sentence, every human being is born equal in dignity and rights? What does this mean? It basically means the dismantling, the building back of this gradient, coming back to this one line of equal worthiness. It is saying that everybody is equally worthy. There is no legitimacy in having masters subjugating underlings. As if we as humankind made a kind of U-turn, a moral, ethical U-turn against the past 10,000 years and said, no, what we did there, to have slaves, to subjugate people, to turn them into tools in the hands of masters, this is not anymore legitimate. No, everybody is equal. Okay, so this is a revolutionary turn that we as humankind have brought about in this Human Rights Declaration. And it's interesting, in 1757 there is a kind of linguistic marker of this turn. In the English language, in 1757, for the first time, the verb to humiliate meant to violate the dignity of an individual. This is the first time. Before, to humble and to humiliate was the same. It was both pro-social. The man had the duty to humiliate, to beat his wife, disobedient wife and children. The duty, it was pro-social. By beating the wife should learn humility and respect this hierarchy. And we still, if we think of honor killing or of Taliban, or we have still these ways of thinking. We still have them. So, but in 1757, for the first time, to humiliate became antisocial. To be humble still stays pro-social, but to humiliate became a violation in the English language. So this is an interesting linguistic marker. And if we look, this is a picture of Sweden when right-hand driving and left-hand driving, when this switch happened. You see that if this switch happens, at that moment of the switch, you cannot have people having this, at the same time, right-hand driving and left-hand driving. You cannot have it at the same time. You have to decide. A society has to decide, either one or the other. And the same is with this switch here. What we have now is that some people on our Earth, on our planet, they like the right-hand driving, and others like the left-hand driving, and then we have accidents. So at the moment, we are in a transition time, which should be very quick. If one has a 180, U-turn, it should be quick and not slowly, because otherwise you have a lot of accidents. And we live in times of accidents because we live in times where we should switch quickly, and we don't, and we can't. So now I will describe this switch a little bit more to you, very quickly. So in the past, as I said, to humiliate was pro-social, and now it is a violation. So, and this affects all parts of our lives. Just imagine the word bullying. We hear about bullying, which shouldn't be. This word is completely unknown 100 years ago, 200 years ago. There is nothing like bullying. Or pedagogy. If you see on the left side at the top, you see breaking the will of the child. This was good pedagogy. To have the child draw would not be good pedagogy. The child should be forced to sit still and listen and not be indulged. So this was the old version of pedagogy, and today we would call it mistreatment of children. So here we see the same transition, and this same transition comes everywhere. The man who thinks that beating his wife is good for the wife and for the family. Today we call it domestic violence. So you see here the switch. Then you see the switch in female genital cutting, or killing of girls for honor, and it was called customs, cultural customs. Now we call it harmful traditional practices. We call it a crime. It has become a crime. And so on. Apartheid, if we speak about apartheid, we know it's bad. But it was not bad when it was designed. It was a solution. It was good. Even, the Holocaust was called Endlösung, solution. So we have this switch of that something that was seen as pro-social, humiliation, subjugation, is now antisocial, seen as a violation. And you see, the further down you come on this list, the more we go into the future. The very, very bottom you see forever growth, realism. This is still majority opinion today. If we listen to the news, we hear that we need growth, economic growth. I think it will switch. In 20 years, people will say, oh, this is a utopian delusion. Here we see that we are not yet there. Here we see that we are doing the right-hand switch from right-hand driving to left-hand driving slowly, too slowly. And why? So why did we have during the past 5% of our history that humiliation was pro-social? Why? How come? How did that occur? And political scientists have a very good word for it. It is called security dilemma. Just remember, when we, for the first time, couldn't go further to the next valley and follow the food. Other people were there. We were stuck. And we started with agriculture. And what happens when you plant in spring and you want to harvest in autumn? You are afraid that the people from the other valley will steal your things. So you get some weapons, you defend yourself, the others get afraid, they get some weapons, you have an arms race, and war is almost automatically the outcome. So the motto of the past 5% of our history was peace through security work, war for peace. If you want peace, prepare for war. And you see these triangles. One dominator society was in hostility, sometimes also in friendship, but very quickly so friendship could become hostile to another dominator society. How can we overcome this? To my view, we are now at a moment in history where we can easily overcome that. We have all the knowledge that is needed to overcome this security dilemma. How can we do it? We can manifest that we are one family, tiny human family on one very, very vulnerable planet. And we see our planet now from outside. It's a revolutionary image that our forefathers did not have. Our grandparents couldn't see that. So a revolutionary new image that we understand who we are. So, and we have all the knowledge, we can manifest that there is no path to peace. Peace is the path, Gandhi's motto. We can manifest it now. What stands in the way? Why do we not manifest it then, if it's so easy? Why not? Because of glory. The attraction of glory. And this is what your youth, you were explaining why you were interested. Anders Behring Breivik, he sees himself as a hero, as a knight. And this is the attraction. And I think it is very, very difficult for the males, the men in this world, to negotiate that they have lost the glory of war. It is glory. You see, this is a picture from Stavanger. And when I look at that picture, I can also see Donald Trump or others in this world. This is the glory of maleness, of victory, of combat. And this glory has, if you lose it, it's a loss. However, it must be lost. Why? Because what is the result today? It's collective destruction to engage in this kind of glory thinking. And we see it, I think, in the rhetoric of Donald Trump very much. He wants to destroy North Korea, but what will happen? It's collective destruction, this collective suicide. So this glory is a problem, and you will meet that, or this is a big obstacle, I think. So you remember when I showed this image here, there is a lying 8 at the bottom there under the word Gandhi on the right side. Why do I use that? This is the kind of symbol I use for the partnership model of society that Rihanna Eisler calls like that. So I like this model very much, or this symbol very much. It is a symbol for unity in diversity, for non-dualism, for dialogue. In Norwegian, it's enhet i mangfold, enighet i mangfold, samhold i mangfold, samhørighet i mangfold. And what is so interesting is that it is I think, could you come very quickly? Yeah. You can jump down. Yeah. If you see this here, if you give me your hand and like that, then you see we do this 8. Huh? Yeah. We do it. Yeah. And what is the result? We are 2. We remain 2. Yeah. And we are 1. Yeah. I do not kind of assimilate you. We are not 1, 1, 1. No. And we are not 2. We are not enemies. No. We are 2, but we are 1 at the same time. Yes. So I think this is what I like. Thank you so much. What I like about this symbol. So it's not uniformity without diversity. Huh? That is when I would take you. This would be uniformity without diversity, and it's not division without unity either. It's unity in diversity. I think this is a very, very good motto for the future. So here I come now to humiliation, and I put a Norwegian slide in case, just to mix it a little bit. So this U-turn there that started or has this mark in 1757, this U-turn also creates two very different kinds of humiliation. The humiliation of honor and the humiliation of dignity. The humiliation of equality in dignity. It's very, very different, these two humiliations. So here I have it in Norwegian. Ydmykelse av ære gir legitimitet til å bli sint bare til de som har makt. Aristokrater har rett til å gå til duell når en annen aristokrat ydmyker deres ære. Da kan de gå til duell. Men den kona som er slått, kan ikke gå til duell mot sin mann. Nei. Eller en slave kan ikke gå til duell mot sin mann. Så underdanig ydmykhet og skam er en dyd for de avmektige. Dere ser det på venstre siden. Mens det å ydmyke er en plikt for de mektige. Mannen må slå sin ulydige kone. Og så kommer vi til ydmykelse av verdighet på den andre siden der. Og da er det helt forskjellige. Nå føles ydmykelse mer eksistensielt. Og legitimitet gir legitimitet til å bli sint til alle. Det er det nye. Nå, la oss si, it is a big, big promise to say to everybody, you are part of one human family and you are an equal member of this family. This is a very, very high promise. The moment this is betrayed or violated, you are out of the human family immediately. So therefore is dignity humiliation so much more intense than humiliation of honor, because there you stay within, even if you're a little bit further down. So in the new context, underdanig ydmykhet og skam er ikke lenger en dyd. Så vi forventer at kona som blir slått skal ikke forbli ydmyk der og la seg slå. Nei, vi forventer at hun reiser seg opp. Så underdanig ydmykhet og skam er ikke lenger en dyd. Det nye idealet er verdig og stolt ydmykhet. Ikke sant? Men det er fremdeles viktig å kunne skamme seg. Vi vil ikke ha arrogante mennesker rundt omkring som ikke skammer seg. Så det er en utrolig viktig forskjell når vi snakker om ydmykelse, at det blir en forskjell. Så hvis en person føler seg ydmyket, så dine elever som du nevnte, ikke sant? Ok, hva kan man gjøre når man føler seg ydmyket? The traditional thing would be to accept it, like the wife who is beaten, and traditionally she accepts it. This would be the first way. And this is not very conflict creating. It's quite peaceful, you could say. Like in North Korea, perhaps, we could say it's a very peaceful society because everybody accepts being down or being obedient. Then we have the Hitler way out of feeling humiliation. Hitler used this national humiliation argument to start the Second World War. So, also Anders Behring Breivik or terrorists, it's the way out of humiliation through violence. And then we have a new way. This is the Mandela path out of humiliation. He also was humiliated. He was down in society and he came up. But he did not engage in violence. He did not incite a genocide like in Rwanda, for example. He did not. He worked for social change in society. Here I have 8 factors that are making the present historical juncture in which we live more dangerous, or which we have to keep in mind. I will not read them now. I will read them, I think, on the 2nd of March, and you will have then the video tape if you want to see it. It would take too much time now, but just to give you a hint. Today I think we have a second security dilemma. The first security dilemma was, here is one state, it's between states. Today we have it between the famous 1% and the famous 99%. In the past, this motto was in the classical security dilemma: if you want peace, prepare for war. Today, we have a similar one here: if you want wealth, invest in exploitation. This is what we are living in now, and you see me there at Zuccotti Park in New York in 2011, where the Occupy movement started. Again, I think we can overcome this. We can, and we must, from my point of view, globalize care and trust rather than globalizing exploitation as we do now. So I think, you know, when we looked at the glory, the glory of war, and today it's suicidal. I think our business models today will follow the same path. Smoking is good for you. This is what we once learned, and today we know smoking kills. I think this will come also with the economic structures that we have today. Today, I think we can imagine that humankind is on a kind of Titanic cruise ship. We think we are on a cruise ship. We, the rich here in Norway, in the West, in Western countries, we are on the first floor, and we are very happy there. We paint our cabins pink. We play games there, and we try to build barriers so that the poor people from down in the ship cannot come up. This is what we do now in this world. We think we are on a cruise ship, and the poor people who are down in the ship, they have one big wish that is coming up in the ship. What we both overlook, the people who are in the top, and what the people in the top overlook, is that the knowledge they need is in the bottom. Much of the knowledge they need is in the bottom. This is what they overlook, but all of them, they overlook what? They overlook the iceberg. This is what we all overlook now when we have our problems on the ship. We overlook that the whole ship is in danger. We live in a historically unparalleled, radically new situation. We as humankind can no longer think of ourselves as sailing on a luxury cruise ship. What we thought of as a luxury cruise ship is a Titanic facing icebergs. It has already hit the first icebergs by now, and we realize that we are on a lifeboat, not a cruise ship. In a lifeboat, all hands are needed on deck. Everybody has to contribute with what they can. Nobody can buy themselves out of this joint effort. Whoever tries to gain a momentary personal advantage by exploiting others or ecological resources only contributes to the faster sinking of the lifeboat. So this, I think, the situation we are in now, as humankind on this planet. And we are in danger of drowning our planet and burning it. So we have, if we look back on the dates, then you see 200,000 years ago we started having a party on our planet. 12,000 years ago we started with win-lose competition for domination. We adapted. 1757, this interesting marker. 1967, we see our planet from outside. I think this is revolutionary, this image. We learn about ourselves from outside. 1980, we start to overuse our resources. We use 1.5 planets now. Soon we need 2, 3, 5, 6 planets if we want to continue like now. 1991 was the end of the Cold War. A window opened to really create this one world that we need to manifest. We missed this opportunity. 2008 was the collapse of the blind belief in the market. I think the belief is still there, still perhaps less blind. Now our responsibility, and your daughter's responsibility, will be, she will carry more responsibility than any generation before, I think. It's overcoming the terror of systemic humiliation that we see in this world. So we have two turning points and two futures we can or several, but two main futures we can choose between. First, the first 95% we were spreading out on our planet. Then we hit the fact that the planet is finite. We adapted by spreading out vertically, dominating. Now we hit again, circumscription is another word for suddenly something is finite that we thought was unlimited. Now we know oil, minerals, clean air, clean water, everything is finite. We know that now. How do we adapt now? We, and this is an exponential curve, we adapt by maximizing what we learned in the past 5%, namely competition for domination. We maximize that adaptation, which is suicidal in a finite context. We have to learn to go in circles. And we can, because now we have all the knowledge and we have the image, we understand that we are one family, can build a partnership in unity in diversity. The UN goals, sustainable goals, they are very well intended. However, you see at number 8, you see the exponential curve. I think it undermines all the other goals. And you might know this saying by Kenneth Boulding, anybody who believes exponential growth can go on forever in a finite world is either a madman or an economist. So, sociocide is being perpetrated in all systems so far. In the upper corner you see North Korea, and down you see Morumba in Sao Paulo, where I was in 2012, where you see the rich overlooking the slums. It's always huge inequality and sociocide, which means the dismantling, the weakening of the social glue in societies. Eenzaamheid. Ecocide, the destruction of our ecological environment. If we think, I heard that honor killing is being discussed, or similar practices are being discussed in Norway. If we think of people who commit honor killing, and we think, oh, these are these societies, these migrants with their backward cultures who come to Norway. We are the mother when we destroy our the planet for our children. Then we are the mother. We have to look at ourselves. My invitation is to see what can we do, what do we do, how can we change our destructive behavior. So if we absolutely need an ism, we have capitalism, we have communism, socialism. I'm not sure whether we need isms, but if we need an ism, why not dignity-ism? So what is dignityism? What would it be? It would be a world where every newborn finds space and is nurtured to unfold the highest and best embedded in a social context of loving appreciation and connection. A world where the carrying capacity of the planet guides the ways in which everybody's basic needs are met. A world where we are united in building trust and respecting human dignity and celebrating diversity, where we prevent unity from being perverted into oppressive uniformity and keep diversity from sliding into hostile division. I came to Norway in 1977. Dette Rjukan høyfjeldshotellet. Jeg velger Norge som mitt hjem, fordi Norges kulturarv av likeverd, dugnads og globalt ansvar for Kjøpnadsen, det er en kulturarv etter min forståelse som er mer verdt enn all olje i verden. Så derfor er Norge det stedet som jeg betrakter som mitt hjem. Allerede Henrik Wergeland har understreket at Norges vanskelige geopolitiske beliggenhet kan nå være en fordel. Ikke sant? Ingen har noen gang, hvis vi ser på Europa, da har vi byer med murer rundt, ikke sant? Bymurer. Hvorfor? Hvorfor ser vi ikke det i Norge? Ingen gadd å erobre Norge. De var for langt vekk og hadde ingen ressurser, var ikke rik nok. Men fordelen er at da er det ikke denne ekstreme dominator-modellen av samfunnet som utviklet seg. Det er en nok så egalitær tradisjon som kunne holde seg. I de andre deler i verden kunne ikke det holde seg. Så derfor er det et veldig spesielt sted. Og har et spesielt ansvar fra mitt ståsted. I call for a globalization of care rather than a globalization of exploitation through competition for domination. And I hope, I'm an ambassador of Norwegian cultural heritage in that way. So here we have our blue planet. Here we are in danger of drowning it and burning it. How do we What do I contribute to avoiding that? Now I will switch hats. I have two hats. I'm the founder of a global dignity movement. In that, this is the hat of unity. I am the convener, but also I'm part of this community. I'm a researcher on my own account. This is the head of researcher, where I'm part of the diversity of our network, and this means until now I was the researcher, and whatever I said now, please don't believe me. I only want to inspire you. It's not that you need to believe me. But now I will just describe this work of the global dignity movement. So I have this head of unity now when I describe that to you. So we have, I nurture, I give my life to building a human dignity and humiliation studies network that is a not-for-profit effort. It's a global fellowship of like-minded academics and practitioners. It's a not-for-profit labor of love for a new future, for new humankind. It's for something new rather than against something old. We are about 1,000 people in the core of our movement. We have been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in the past years, which has helped us a lot. We have 2 conferences per year. And the first conference was with Arne Ness in 2003 in Paris. And then every year in China. Here is 2013 in Stellenbosch in South Africa. And I use this picture because my book, this book there, is a kind of journey where you meet all these people. Here I also have some pictures. This is my global footprint, Voetspoor. So you will meet, for example, her in this book. I met her in South Africa, Catherine Odora Hoppers, and she gave us this picture where she said, look, fighting between the white and the black, or having, conflict resolution is not the end of the road. We all will be eaten by the crocodile, which is the global economic structures. So this is her way of depicting that, and I have this picture in the book. And we had this conference in North Thailand where Trine was with us. You remember? You are somewhere on this picture. And we went with Trine. We went to a village. You remember, Trine? We went to this village, Karen village. This is also in the book because we learned. Wherever I learned something about how we can survive in the future, wherever I learned something, it's in my work. I put it in. So this is. We learned from the people there in the village how a village must be managed to be a sustainable village. So this is what we learned there. Then in 2015 we had our conference in Rwanda. Now in August we had it in India. This is in India. Now in December we had it in New York. It was had the motto, the nature of dignity, the dignity of nature. This was the motto of this last workshop we had in New York. And there, the text we had was the following. During the past millennia, honor meant rising from humiliation by aiming for victory in competition for domination. 1757 and 1948 marked the rise of dignity as solidarity in care. During the past 4 decades, however, dignity has been brought back, reframed in the old way, this time as autonomy and profit. Dignity and nature are now being sold out for these new victories. The result is ubiquitous terror and ever more humiliation. So this was kind of the last workshop. Our next conference is in Egypt. Trine will be there. You are all welcome. And then next year, in 2019, in the Amazon in Brazil. And our hosts there, they send us an invitation. They say, please, contribute to the Good Living Amazon Paradigm Project with videos, with contributions. So they invite us to already now contribute with small videos. Wherever we have members in our network who have a guest room, we invite them to declare their house to be a Dignity Dialogue home. And these are the homes I go, my homes in the world. At the moment I have the big privilege of being at home with Trine. And we launched the World Dignity University Initiative in 2011. It's an invitation to all educators and learners for whom dignity is central. And we have a Dignity Press. And now I'm taking again the other hat, my hat as a researcher, in this case the author of this book. And this is now the kind of very short description of this book. Humankind has reached a boiling point. Hijacked by toxic competition for dominance, might has become right. The consequence is ubiquitous destruction, executed through tools of terror. This book is a globally informed account of how we can reverse this rising tide, making dignity our destiny and legacy before it is too late.